What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of BKNY Hoops. If you're new to the show, it's your boy Rashid. All right, let's get into it. You guys actually see the graphics in terms of the thumbnail. You see the actual title. Grizzlies reported open to trading Ja Morant, and should Sean Marks go all in? Now, I might change his title a little bit later, but for now, I think it's a really, really good title, man, and a really, really good topic of conversation because if we just look at the Trae Young situation, um, that was essentially really like a salary dump, pretty much. So we look at Ja Morant. Now, Ja Morant, we're going to go over all the problems with him, not really as a person in terms of his like off the court issues, but him pretty much as a basketball player. Yo, Brooklyn, go crazy. What's good, man? How you doing, man? So now, if you're Sean Marks, would you actually trade next year's, or let's say this year's pick is 2026 for Ja Morant? And why would you actually do this? Because there is no guarantee that the Brooklyn Nets will get like a AJ DeBonster, a Darren Peterson. Player one was good. How you doing, man? Lakey was good. How you doing? How's everything going? How you doing? How you doing? I think that's how they say it in old Italiano. But where was I? Okay, so why would you actually trade next year's pick? Because like the lottery in itself is a serious gamble. I think at this point it's actually worse than going to the casino and actually playing slot machines, right? The percentages are like horrible. Now there's no guarantee. Like you said, quit smoking delusional hell no Ja Morant. But listen, man, Ja Morant does actually put butts in the seat. You know, I mean, the Barclays Center will be sold out almost every single night. I mean, he's a player, and like that you would definitely want to go see. Now, you can't relate to him. He's not like a Trae Young where like he doesn't like play above the rim. You know, so more people in general relate to like Trae Young because you could be a Trae Young, right? If you actually put the work in. He's a little bit shorter than me, and he has NBA success. But Ja Morant, in terms of his vertical, you know, a lot of people can't beat Ja Morant. And that's one of the issues right there when it comes. We're going to look at his game. First, let's get into the actual articles here and see what they're actually talking about. And hold on, let me go back to the actual Chrome tab here. All right, let's go to the post, as a matter of fact, because one of the things is actually shooting is a problem for Ja Morant, you know. So in the regular season, I think he could win you some games. But the thing is, especially when it comes to like the guard position in general, there has been evolution, you know, and it's happening really quickly. We see the K Cunningham's coming along, the Shays, the Jalen Wilson's, just like in terms of just the guard position. Now, y'all guys, you know how I actually feel when it comes to undersized guards, and he is one. But he does play above the rim, though. So I what I always say is no more undersized. And I've been saying this for the last 2 years, actually 3 years since they had that Patty Mills on the team and Seth Curry. No more undersized below the rim players. We need players with positional size. The average height in the NBA is 6'6", and we need guys that actually play above the rim. But Ja Morant is only a $173, you know, and in like let's say if the Nets so happen to make the playoffs, and they can do this in the regular season if they really wanted to. Let's say if they really wanted to win a game. They could look at Ja Morant's weaknesses on both ends. But here's the problem over here, man. So this comes from the New York Post, and it's saying Grizzlies open to trading Ja Morant and a possible NBA stunner. Oh, I like that title even better, man. It says over here that where is it? Okay, it's the first in the it's the first time that Memphis had at least listened to potential deals. The outlet added, and multiple teams are reportedly interested in the former number 2 overall pick in the 2019 draft. See, Lakey, man, there's teams that are actually interested. Nobody really wanted Trae Young, man. I mean, Trae Young was a salary dump. I mean, really, they didn't get anything of value for Trae Young. But now, since there's competition for Ja Morant, that may, you know, include the Brooklyn Nets probably having to give up 2026, you know, like that draft pick. But you're getting someone that's like like a star already. Now his strengths is actually able to really put pressure on the defense, man. I mean, he's so explosive. If they actually play fast, he just puts a lot of pressure on the defense. It causes the defense not to really have to go for like offensive rebounds, but you have to get back and transition quickly when it comes to a Ja Morant. And that's also one of the weaknesses. Now, he actually thrives in the regular season when it comes to that style of play, but in the playoffs, when the game slows down, they get into like a half court set. There go your problem right here. And this is one of the problems over here is he averaged 30% no 20 point, oh wow, damn, 20.8% across 18 from the 3-point line, 20% from the 3-point line. We're going to look up his career numbers in a couple of minutes, though, man. But that's not good, man. That's not good, especially for like an undersized player. Even though he does play above the rim, but when you got like the Wimbianas, the Paolo Bancheros, we just watched Orlando. You saw how even Cam Thomas, who really struggled in that Orlando game, man. Nobody's talking about that. I was, looking for Eric Slater and all these other guys, and nobody wanted to talk about that. So, they got a lot of long guys who could, move laterally, long arms, and that can jump just as high as Ja Morant, in terms of like being able to actually defend. And this is where Ja, I don't know who's like coaching him, like who's in his corner, but they should be telling him, hey, you need to be shooting like 40-something% from the 3-point line, man. He's making damn near like almost $100 million. Why hasn't he been in the lab, in the offseason, getting off 1,000 shots a day from the 3-point line, man? You can hire like God. It's one thing for me to try to work on my 3-point shot. I mean, it would be extremely difficult because I don't have anybody to actually rebound the ball for me. I would be in probably the best shape of my life, but it would take such a long time. But when you got guys that can, like 3 or 4 guys that can actually rebound the ball for you, and you can actually get better at 3. There's no excuse for Ja Morant right there, man. I don't. It says all right, and it talks about pretty much all the stuff that got Ja Morant suspended for flashing the firearms. There's some character issues there, but I just think maybe a change of scenery, just getting out of Memphis in general. I think maybe that whole team should just get out of Memphis, Tennessee, and just move somewhere to a more vibrant city. Y'all guys know about Memphis and how horrible that area pretty much is. And, like the negative energy that comes out of like the people in Memphis could probably spew onto the organization and to the players, man. So, let's see over here. Let's see.
Trae Young was dealt from the A to the nation's capital earlier this week, and now NBA fans, brace yourself because another NBA superstar could be on the move, and that's soon. According to Shams, the Memphis Grizzlies are entertaining offers to potentially move 2-time All-Star Ja Morant ahead of the February 5th NBA trade deadline. And you know what? I'm all about it because I think it's time that Ja moves on from the Grizzlies, gets himself out of Memphis, and gets him a fresh start somewhere else because hands down, he is one of the best players in the game right now. Here's a guy that in his career,
I don't know, man. There's like about 25 players I could put ahead of Ja Morant right now. I mean, a lot. I would say potentially 30, 35. I think ESPN had him around 38, 40. I could think of, I mean, yeah, he can score. He averages 19, but like you got to look at the other stuff when it comes to basketball. Let's finish this out.
Averages over 22 points and 7 assists a game, multiple All-Star appearances, former most improved player, and he was that energy and that production behind Memphis becoming a legit Western Conference threat years ago. He's explosive, fearless, must-watch TV, all of the above, but that's when it's just basketball. Because the last couple of seasons, it's been nothing but pure turbulence. You got running.
All right, and one of the problems with Ja Morant, too, is that him and the coach had an issue with Ja Morant playing off the basketball, and that is a problem. He's not really used to playing like that. His mind is not programmed, like in terms of playing like that. So that just shows the selfish nature of Ja Morant. is like a D'Angelo Russell, right? They get disinterested. They don't cut. So that's one of the issues when it comes to Ja Morant, being able to actually play off the basketball. He doesn't really give you much. He doesn't give you no shooting. He's pretty much like a one-dimensional player, So we look at the stats of Ja Morant. See here. Let me see if it's showing up on screen. I hate when it does this shit, man. Let me see. I got to stop it and show you guys here. And let's see. That's the good thing about Ja Morant, though. I mean, he will put, butts in the seat and sell tickets, man. But that's really, really, really all about it, man. Well, actually, you know what? Let's go. We already know what the stats are. I just read off the stats. But let's go into in terms of the top players in the NBA. And Mo Beasley was good, man. Was good. Now I think it's going to take if there's if there's a lot of competition for Ja Morant, it's going to probably take the Brooklyn Nets surrendering the pick that they actually have for this year. I'm in favor for them actually doing that, depending on the actual player. Now, let's say, if they can do it for what's his name on San Antonio, man? What was Dylan Harper? I would definitely do that. But it's possible that the Brooklyn Nets could actually get the 5th pick. There's no guarantee that you're going to get AJ DeMonster. There's no guarantee you're getting Karen Boozer. There's no guarantee you're getting actual Darren Peterson. You could get the 5th pick, which could be like a Caleb Wilson or something like that. I think that's what his name is. And I already did a scouting report, a video on him. I mean, there's so many weaknesses when it comes to him. He's a project player. He's not coming in with an NBA body, being able to really actually absorb the contact. So let's go into the top guards over here when it comes to Ja Morant and actually see who they actually have ahead of him. And let's see if I actually agree with this or not. All right, we got 8 people on the live over here, man. Oh, wow. That's really, really good, man. I'm thinking about not covering the Brooklyn Nets anymore, I'm thinking about honestly really not doing it, man. I just think it's not. I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably going to switch to another team that's All right, so they got Tyus Jones. Let's see, T.J. McConnell, Dennis Schroeder. Well, we could take him out that list. Get the what? Dennis Schroeder? I'm bugging out here. Emmanuel Quickly. Stephon Castle, he should be up a little higher though. Drew Holiday, Andrew Nimhard. I actually like him. Yeah, I like him. Kyrie Irving, Jalen Suggs, Fred VanVleet over Ja Morant. Yeah, I guess he's a better shooter. Yeah, he's 37% from the 3-point line. So when you actually look at Fred VanVleet when it comes to value to a team and not ball centric. Yeah, I would definitely put, even though Fred VanVleet is actually older. Peyton Pritchard, Josh Giddey, LaMelo Ball, Jamal Murray. I don't think, damn, man. So I think Memphis might be fooling themselves because, if I'm looking at this, so are other general managers, and what can you actually get for Ja Morant? And does Cam Thomas? Yeah, you can surrender Cam Thomas, but does Cam Thomas actually really want to go there? Derek White. Yeah, so Derek White, not that, again, this is more about value to a team, not that who's really better. We know Ja Morant is better in terms of skill, better than a lot of these players, but it's you got to factor in the passing, the defense, the ability to actually play team basketball, being off the basketball. You have to look at that stuff, that kind of stuff too, man. So Derek White, in terms of value, to an organization, he brings more value because he can actually block shots. I think his 3-point shooting and his field goal percentage is actually much better. His rebounding, I think, is much better than Ja Morant. Let's see. Tyrese Maxey. Yeah, you definitely think he's yeah. All right, so De'Aaron Fox. Yep. Oh, Ja Morant's number 8. Okay. All right. So Ja Morant is the actual 8th best point guard in the NBA. Now, can the Brooklyn Nets get a top 8 point guard in next year's draft? All right, so it's an actual gamble right there. I don't think they actually could, and I don't want to be negative, but again, like if you look at the NBA in terms of the actual draft in itself, it's like a raffle system, man. If anybody ever played a raffle before, you buy tickets, you can actually buy 300 tickets, and the person that buys 5 or 6 tickets actually wins the grand prize. Meanwhile, you don't actually win anything, man. So, yeah, man. So that's really more or less the problem right there when it comes to the lottery. So at least if you give up the 2026 pick, you put all that gambling, you put that on Memphis right there, man. Let them actually take on that actual burden. Meanwhile, you actually have a superstar here, and the Nets have something to actually build on, and hopefully Jody Fernandez can actually get into the head of Ja Morant. But you got to get these guys when they're actually young, coming out of college, and they really kind of teach them how to play basketball the right way. It's hard, once a player really kind of like gets set in their ways to really kind of like, mold them a different way, man. All right, so let me see. The Nets have been successful. All right, let me get the phone lines up. Anybody want to come on the show? It's more than welcome to do that. Let me just get this in here right quick. Hold on. Oh, here we go. All right. I'm gonna get your guys' inputs on this, man. Yeah, Mo Beasley, I don't know about your Houston Rockets, man. I don't know, man. Y'all guys need a point guard, bro. Y'all need a point guard. All right, so Mo Beasley says Cam and Clax for Ja and some fillers. Yeah, I would definitely take it, and if they can actually really kind of keep their draft pick, yeah, that most definitely, man. Most definitely, I would do that deal in a heartbeat. But that all depends. That depends if there's any kind of competition for the actual for Ja Morant. Like when it comes to Trae Young, there was nothing really out there. Nobody really wanted him, man. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like things evolve, man. Like I have this is my phone right here. Let me see if I can use this metaphoric analogy. This is the Galaxy Z Fold 7. So the Z Fold 1, it's just like the NBA calls these players product pretty much. Products evolve. Products are actually getting better, man. So I know what do you guys actually really think, man? Let me see if there's anything else over here. This is other packages that the Memphis Grizzlies should consider. He says, bro, it's not you, the Nets. Laugh my ass off. The Nets have a successful rehabilitation. However, I said trade for him, increase his value, then make a decision based on. Yeah, that's true. That actually makes that's a really, really good point right there, man. I would definitely do that, man. He says, J.R. Knight says Ja can't be trusted because of his injuries and his dysfunctional behavior, man. Yeah, that's true too, man. But again, like, when you're in competition with the New York Knicks and you see how much press they're actually getting, negative or positive, press is press, right? The show over here would definitely gain more interest with Ja Morant. I think everybody's podcast who actually covers the Brooklyn Nets would actually get much more like interesting pretty much when you got a Ja Morant on there. Like Yegor, yeah, all right, they actually really move the needle and everything, man. But he'll get better eventually, hopefully. It says player one over here says SGA, Cade, Braxton, like Drew have all been better point guards than Ja Morant this year. He's not top 8 anything. Yeah, I definitely agree, man. I definitely do agree. He says Mo Beasley says they do need a point guard, but Şengün is hurt, so you guys have to step in. Yeah, man. Well, Reed Shepherd has more value than Ja Morant because in terms of his 3-point shooting and his ability to space the floor. But like 20% for Ja Morant, man, in terms of 3-point shooting, man, that's atrocious. And like I said, my thing is that he's 173 pounds. And I did videos on Ja Morant, like I wanted him. Like when he was like first got into the league, and I remember when Kyrie Irving and Ja Morant had that showdown, I was like, damn. But as you see, things are actually getting, players are evolving. The NBA is moving from like one-dimensional 6'2", 6'3" guards, and you got to factor in the actual injuries too. But if you can get Ja Morant cheap, I would definitely get him. If there's a lot of competition out there for Ja Morant, then you may have to give up the draft pick, because at this point now, like the Memphis Grizzlies are going to rebuild, and they would definitely want that pick. Now, like I said before, I got it drilled, especially like guys like Jonathan. He comes on here and believes that Darren Peterson or AJ DeBonsta, did I say Darren Peterson? Cameron Boozer is actually guaranteed. They're not guaranteed. It's a very small probability that you're going to get those guys, but you can actually get a Ja Morant, and now you actually have a star you can build on. And let's see if Jordi Fernandez could actually really get into his head. A lot of times you just got to really kind of like, I don't know, stroke their ego somewhat, I guess. You can't be too hard on him. You got to really kind of like, I don't know. I never coached players of a Ja Morant caliber, so it's bad enough getting young players to really kind of like play team basketball and not wanting to show off or anything like that. But if you can show him that, hey, this is much more advantageous for the team in terms of winning. Yeah, the Grizzlies definitely should rebuild, man. Yeah. And like I said, they're going to look at the Brooklyn Nets and they're going to want that pick. They are going to want that pick. And maybe who was saying this over here, man? But like if you look at Nick Claxton, right? There's a whole bunch of talks of like who the starting center really should be. Now the Nets have been playing better or just as good with Day'Ron. That Orlando game. Yeah, listen, that ask Power Carroll to really do that. The next 4 or 5 games, hit like an off balance fadeaway 3-point shot. We saw Day'Ron actually finish that game, and that's like a technical W right there, man. So Day'Ron's actually really having some impact. I mean, he doesn't have to be Joel Embiid, or but if he could be serviceable, most definitely right there, man. Where was I on this thing here? So it says, okay, the potential landing spots for. Let's see if they actually have the Brooklyn Nets there, man. AP, what's good, man? What's good? He says Ja has the mindset of a teenager that thinks he's a hood. That's why he needs a change of scenery, man. That's exactly why he needs to come over here, man. He needs to change the scenery. Just get out of Memphis. There's a bad vibe about that city. That city's not like returning to like its glory days anytime soon, man. I just, that's why. Oh yeah. John and Jody do got a beef. I forgot all about that. Oh, let me take these highlights off screen before they say. They say, oh, you're showing live content. So let's see. If we look at these packages that are, hold on, all right. So we look at these packages that could be offered. Let's see if the Brooklyn Nets can actually give something better over here. So it says the Ja Morant trade landing spot. So the T-Wolves, it said the Minnesota's looking for point guard help for Anthony Edwards. I don't think the point guard issue is not really the T-Wolves' problem. I just think that's more of a Rudy Gobert situation. When he's on the floor, it's 5-on-4 basketball. Yeah, a point guard would help, but I think their issue is like actually getting a center that can pretty much generate some sort of offense. Like if you put Naz Reid in there, like Naz Reid, I don't know what's up with Naz Reid, why they don't start him and why they don't give him more minutes. There's a lot of players in the NBA and just basketball in general. Like they're good in like 15, 20-minute spurts. But if you start giving them 30, 35 minutes, like their true colors really start, coming out. So the Miami Heat, it says, who can they actually offer? Okay, they could offer Grizzlies guard Tyler Hero, perhaps an exciting and enticing young role player such as Khalil Ware or Jamie Jacquez. Nah, I'm not giving up Khalil Ware or Jamie Jacquez for maybe Tyler Hero. But Tyler Hero, See, he can shoot though. He can actually shoot threes, and Ja Morant can't. So, yeah, even if the Miami Heat possibly makes the playoffs, all I got to do is just sag off for Ja Morant and then make him beat me. Now, one of the things for Ja Morant that can actually help him is like, let's say the big comes up and set a screen on whoever's guarding him, and now you get that big switched on to Ja Morant. If you're shooting 20% from three, if I'm the center, why do I need to come up on you? I'm just going to force you. I'm going to go and drop, and I'm going to force you to beat me from the outside. So it shouldn't. No, we've seen Ja Morant go through this for the last couple of years. Why hasn't he evolved and gotten better, man? So this is one of the concerns when it comes to me for Ja Morant. The Milwaukee Bucks over here, man. It says the Bucks are desperate to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo happy, and perhaps a pairing with Morant and Milwaukee would appease him. That's not a good combination, man. You know, like Giannis puts more pressure on the rim. The ball would have to be in Giannis' hands most of the time. And then you got Ja Morant pretty much playing off the basketball. So we saw how that worked out with Dame. Dame actually could play off the basketball. He could shoot threes, and that didn't work out. So, and there's there's also the defensive issues. Even if Ja Morant, let's say, could defend, you know, but being a buck 73, like if you look at Gary Payton, he was one of like the best defenders, you know, they say of all time, one of the best defenders out there. But put Gary Payton against LeBron James, who's like 6'9", 260. It's not working, man. So think of like, let's say, a 10, 12-year-old kid trying to guard you at 250, 260. You know, it's just not going to work. I don't care how good defensively. Your size really kind of like determines how good you can play defense to a certain degree, man. You know, so it's the Sacramento Kings. It says the Kings appear willing to trade much of their roster at the deadline with players such as Zach LaVine, Sabonis, Malik Monk, DeRozan, Keon Ellis, all mentioned as potentially on the move. I think the Brooklyn Nets will have a better trade package over here, man. We seen Zach LaVine. I just think he's disinterested right now. I mean, he made his money. Sabonis gives you offense but no defense. Malik Monk is a role player. DeMar DeRozan is actually over the hill. And Keon Ellis, I don't know much about Keon Ellis, you know. So, and I think the Grizzlies will want like a draft pick pretty much and to rebuild. And like I said, you know, if you're the Brooklyn Nets, you have a star right here, man. You have one right here that you can actually really build on, man. So right now, I'm looking at all these trade packages, these landing spots that he can go to. If I'm Miami, I'm not giving up Khalil Wills or Jacquez or even Tyler Hero. The T-Wolves, what was their thing again over here? Who they can give up? Oh, Julius Randle? Rob Dillingham? I don't know. Julius Randle kind of slows your offense down. I definitely don't know about that one, man. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this video up over here, man. I'm gonna try to be on tonight after the Clipper game. I'm going to a little party, so I'm not gonna be able to really watch the game, but I probably could. I can stream the game on my phone. I can watch bits and pieces, but I'll try to be on tonight after the game, though, man. So he says Cam Thomas is better than Ja Morant this year. I don't know, man. Yeah, I saw how Cam Thomas actually struggled in that Memphis game, man. I mean, the Orlando game. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was. No, I'm not trolling, man. I'm not trolling at all. You know, like there's no guarantee that they're going to get a top 3 pick. There's no guarantee. I'm gonna do one on Dylan Harper. Yeah, really, really gonna actually love the next video I do about Dylan Harper and how the Brooklyn Nets could actually get him and how Adam Silver can actually really help really push that trade through. Because I think the Spurs are being somewhat greedy, and I'm gonna save it for the next stream. I'm gonna save it. Jay said Josh is trash now. Maybe he just needs to change the scenery, man. You know, player one, he just needs to change the scenery. You know, he says Grizzlies are dreaming. If you think a team is giving up young players and draft picks for Ja, if the Hawks didn't get them more, but that's true too. But Yeah, you're right about that, man. I think is Trae Young better than Ja Morant? You know, like years ago when it came to Trae Young, uh, he was getting those ticky tack foul calls. You breathe on Trae Young, it's a foul. He would initiate contact. He would throw his body into you. Then they would call fouls. But um, they took away all that. They stopped all that, you know, and they allowed more physicality. And you see straight Trae Young actually really struggle. This is the problem with James Harden. He wasn't getting those whistles, those when it came to like the playoffs, and he would struggle. You know, so he says BK is trying to sabotage this dream, trading this pick for the sorry ass job. I'm just saying it's a gamble though, man, because if you get a fifth pick or a sixth pick at this year's draft, then I don't know, man. If you don't get AJ DeBosta or Cameron Boozer, it's a waste. It's really a waste of a season. And that's a gamble. I mean, there's such like a 90% probability that you're not going to get those guys, man. Either the NBA draft is rigged, and which, you know, like I said, if you look at the NBA in itself, is deemed as entertainment. So if they really want to send a Wemby to San Antonio, a Luka to Dallas, they can, you know, rig it and actually do that. They can do it. It's like WWE pretty much. Not to say that they actually do it all the time, but if it's something that can actually really help them in terms of like ratings and more money, I mean, they can actually really do it though, man. So my thing is that if you trade the 2026 draft pick, you know, and for Ja Morant, I mean, you have like a bona fide star. Instead of 15 people on this podcast, it would be 30, 40, 45 people, 50 people on the show. All the podcasts become much more interesting to actually talk about, you know? So, yeah, I'm going to look at Peterson. We're going to do like a whole film study on Peterson. We're going to measure him up to like the Cade Cunninghams, the Jalen Wilsons. Can he actually guard and defend at the level those guys can, man? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander can actually guard too. You know, Jaylen Brown. You know, we're gonna compare a Darren Peterson to, because when you say his comp is Kobe Bryant, I'm like, you know, I mean that's good when it comes to Kobe Bryant skills. When it comes to like 6 seconds on the shot clock, but when you're talking about like 18, 19 seconds on the shot clock, you know, like his style of play, you know, where he holds the basketball. Pump fakes, and yeah, I mean, you want to like play fast, put pressure on the rim before the defense actually really gets set, and you know, but like if Darren Peterson is like a Kobe Bryant, they're saying, I'm like, yeah, you just like Cam Thomas, like his tough shot making, you just really need that type of offense for like 8 seconds on the shot clock, 7 seconds on the shot clock, 6 seconds. But like not when it's 18, 19 seconds on the shot clock where you got to dribble, and then shoot the basketball and take tough shots, man. I mean, that's horrible offense, man. Horrible offense, man. Yeah, what are the Brooklyn Nets needs right now? They said they need an actual big man over here. Devil's Advocate says we need a big, especially with Cade on the Pistons. Yeah, you can get like, I would search for like a Jalen, what's his name, Duren. I would look for a player like that in this year's draft, man. You gotta just, you know, the basketball in itself is like a copycat league, pretty much. You just look at a Cade Cunningham and say, hey, I gotta get a Cade Cunningham, you know. You know, so King Ribby, what's good, man? What's good with you? All right, so let me wrap this show up. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, certainly share the stream. When you share, the universe certainly shares back with you. Peace.